Welcome back to Desire to Inspire. It's your mama's favorite podcast. It's first non-Friday in a while.
It is the first non-Friday. Got to adapt and overcome, man.
Tribal motto.
Tribal motto. I don't know about you, but drinking, water out of glass bottles is like it makes you
fancier.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're on a different.
I was literally just
level.
saying that's a big ass bottle of water.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't actually. I do know the last time, but like I don't. You do it frequently.
What?
Drink out of glass bottles.
Yeah.
I don't do it often at all.
I keep hearing all this stuff about fucking plastic, man. So,
Are you off the DTI bottles now?
I use Yetis a lot.
I use our DTI bottle more than anything.
I still use those quite often, but every single time I drink it, I'm like, oh, here's plastic. Here's plastic.
That look like, I don't know. I obviously don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
To like any of that type of shit, but also like the little things, do they matter that much? Like you're not avoiding it.
It's everywhere. Plastic is literally everywhere.
You can make a choice to drink a glass bottle now, but like you're still gonna at some point drink some plastic, dude.
Yeah.
There's probably plastic in half the shit that we eat and drink.
Yeah. And if you think about it, like when you go to restaurants, the entire containers that they give you, plastic, fucking, yeah. I mean, even like if you were to get soda at a place, like they're wrapped in plastic bags and they're inside of a box that they like use the gun.
Is it everything that's plastic that actually matters, or is it the way that like the water in the plastic?
It's mainly if it gets heated, then the whatever they are, molecules or whatever, get released in said thing.
Well, I don't even drink like cold water most of the time. So that thing's probably just absorbing heat from the world.
Yeah. So
I have cancer.
That would be tragic. That would be real sad if that's how you
that's
told
how
me.
I said. No, it's probably the fucking plastics giving it to me. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, they're saying that there's even like you can visibly see. We don't need to go down this. I'll come prepared with facts if we talk deep about this.
I kind of like when we talk about without knowing facts.
All I know is that they can trace like X amount of plastic that is in human bodies because of all the little molecules that accumulate in our day-to-day lives, because everything is in plastic bottles, plastic Tupperware, plastic like spatulas, plastic. Like
you use like glass stuff for like lunches if you take a meal with you.
Started to. I'm trying. Yeah.
Wild, dude.
Yep.
There's
I'm
no
trying to get
chance
like
I'm doing that.
non-toxic stuff. Even our cookware, like shout out to 𝐬𝐿. We've been using their pots and pans. So I haven't fully crossed over to that. But we started those. And then even with like our cookware, instead of using like plastic spatulas, I'm trying to use like wood stuff. But excuse me, making little changes where I can, man.
Is wood any better though?
Yeah.
I think it's probably like coated in something that's not good for us still.
I don't fucking know.
Like, it's not like we're getting it straight off the tree and whittling it down.
This is exactly why people don't ever fucking start, because you can see one article and it's like, this is the best thing for you. And then you see 19 other articles that's like, this is the fucking worst thing for you. And so as society, it's like, I'm going to start eating organic foods. And people are like, well, don't eat organic foods. It's a waste of money because of X, Y, and Z. And then there's other people that are like, well, there's less pesticides. There's less this. There's less that. It's the same thing with working out. Do these workouts. It's the best thing for you. No, do fucking Pilates. Do whatever that gay stuff is that people do. CrossFit.
You went from Pilates to the gay stuff. CrossFit.
I don't. CrossFit just makes no sense to me. I've never really liked it. I've never been a fan of it.
Oh,
sorry, not sorry. But
a lot of the movements are specific just to CrossFit.
Yeah.
They don't have any actual translational value.
Yeah. So there's all these different things, and it's you just got to pick the lane that you want to go down and stick to it. And if
I'm in it, dude. Plastics for life, dog.
doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I'm sure there's a lot worse things that we could be doing than drinking out of plastic water bottles. But
yeah,
I'm
CrossFit.
trying to make a conscious decision. God, CrossFit.
Well, congrats, dude, on your anti-plastic,
Thanks. It tastes so much better. Tastes so much better.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so, but, I mean, I'm on the road all the time. You go into a gas station, Gatorades and fucking plastic, water bottles, plastic, every single thing. Our protein shakes, plastic. So, whatever. I mean, I'll make changes where I can and think it's making a difference.
Try to anyway. Whatever honestly makes you feel better though.
Yeah.
Like if it tricks you into some weird placebo that you drink out of a glass bottle, you're better than us. By all means, man, keep it up.
Yep. Yeah, buddy. So that's our rant about plastics for right now.
Yeah, not where I saw this going.
Where'd you see it going?
Anywhere else, actually. Just wasn't expecting this little diversion.
Sometimes you get it. Sometimes you get it.
We do have a few topics. You want yours or you want mine?
I figured yours. Since we had that plan last time. Touch on that. Use mine for the next one, man.
All right.
Unless we roll into it.
I mean, I guess we could kind of roll from this because I guess if you're just going to trick yourself into thinking that the glass is better, it goes back to this whole words have power thing.
Okay.
But that's kind of what I wanted to touch on this week, especially coming off of the last few episodes where we talk about how busy we are. And even on those, I said, like, this could be taken as like a bitching and moaning. And I don't want it to be intended in that way. Mm-hmm. This is honestly the most amount of notes I've taken in a long time for an episode.
Damn, hell yeah.
Let me tell you. But I think that the main point of this for me is like that we are constantly preaching habits and all of these things like that people need to implement in their life. And I don't want to say that we overlook it, but we definitely don't harp on it enough as the rest of the stuff. That one of the biggest habits that I feel like we need to put in place is just the way that we talk to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we've touched on this on more than one occasion that we would never speak to somebody else the way that we talk to ourselves. Like we're always going to be way more negative and way harsher on us as we would to somebody else. But I have been really surrounded by negativity, I feel like, lately. This, like, we're in this transition period at work that we've definitely touched on here. And everybody's just so fucking negative about everything, dude. We're having to stay later and we don't know what's happening, like, with our next position and all this stuff. Like, it's gotten to the point, bro, where I physically can't be around it.
Yep. I
have to leave my desk and the multiple screen setup that I have to take my laptop and a charger and go plug into a little fucking closet cube and just work off one screen because I need to isolate myself. And it's overwhelming lately.
Yeah. How do you, besides isolating yourself, like how do you approach the conversations if you do get wrapped into them? Because I know that we do a very good job as well of being that like positive light in tough situations, dark situations, down situations. And so do you utilize any of that? Or are you to the point where it's just like, there's no hope at all?
There's no hope.
Damn.
That's how I feel right now. And I think, which is going to sound fucked up, but I don't care about these people enough to like, I can only do so much. Yeah. So if I say one thing and they just keep going, it's like, why am I even, I'm wasting my breath and my time now. But I have had to check the way that I talk about the situation at home. Like I'm someone who strongly believes in like work is at work and home is at home.
Yep.
Like those two things need to be separated. Yes, there is times where like you need to vent. Like that's like the one person who you should be able to vent to. So like those things obviously happen. But like I've been bringing it home with me. Optic Nerve was our very first sponsor here at the Desire to Inspire podcast, and it's still one that we are pumped to be partnered up with today. I was linked up with them when I was living in Colorado. They are owned and operated out of Vail, and all of their products get tested in the mountains, so you know that it's built for an active lifestyle. Freddie and I rock these things all the time. They are made with planet-friendly materials from recycled plastics to natural wood, and every pair comes with a lifetime warranty. So, I mean, what are you really doing? Hit the link in our bio, support DTI, support Optic Nerve, look fly doing it. Whether you're just out enjoying a nice stroll or getting active, Optic Nerve has got your back. So go to opticnerve.com and use code DTI for 20% off your order today. That's opticnerve.com, code DTI. And like I've had to like step back and be like, you know what? That's my bad. Like I'm being negative now about this negative thing that's draining me. Mm-hmm. And I know what it does to me at work, so I can only imagine what I'm doing to you right now. Like this is my bad. Like I got to check this whole situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no hope.
It's funny that you bring up the conversation of like work home life. Because I've talked on here before about how amazing my mother was at doing that, demonstrating that, and kind of like instilling that, I would say, my sister and I. And some days are easier than others, but this topic got brought up recently in my like personal life, just about like, dude, I think the world misses, without realizing it, that drive to and from work. Because that drive, whether it's a 10-minute drive or a 45-minute drive, some people have, if not more, that drive allows you to kind of decompress a little bit and not just fucking go gung-ho right after you clock out. So like what I'm trying to say is that if you worked from home and you were working right next to Mandy at home, you clock out and the first thing you're going to do is go in the kitchen when you guys are cooking and bitch about this situation and complain about it and talk about it and talk about it, where the drive home lets you kind of just like breathe a little bit, internalize things, reflect on things, talk about things. And I think that this world misses that time period. My mom and dad, both going to and from work, had a set period of time when I was growing up, going to and from work before I went away to college. Like that point after work, I think is so important and so critical because it gives you time to listen to music. It gives you time to make phone calls. It gives you time to just like separate that mind away from what you're surrounded with all day long and get more of a clear vision and focus towards it. So it's interesting that you bring this up because you have that drive home from work. So I'm interested, do you think that it lets you like defuel the fire a little bit because you have that time, or are you just like waiting to get home so that way you can tell somebody outside of that environment?
I think that that's why it's been harder the last 2 weeks specifically, is because like I feel like I haven't had enough time to decompress in general. Mm-hmm. It's like one job straight to the next now. And then it's like I get home, I sleep, and I do it all over again. So like it was kind of like just an overwhelming all at once thing. Like I kind of just like not blew up, but like I let it all out at one time. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm like overwhelmed right now. Like this, because usually I have time to drive home. I usually go for a run or I lift, and then I go to my next job. So I think that even more so than just the drive home itself, like actually doing something physically active afterwards does help. But I do think that obviously driving home it just gives you that space to like be in a different mindset than just walking into the next room. Yeah. Because I've seen Tyler, who did a keynote at Do Hard Things. Mm-hmm. He had posted something on Facebook maybe a week or two ago about like that he still works like basically from home now. And so like when he does like come home from the gym or whatever, like he sits in his car. He's like, I just take like an extra 5 minutes and like I hype myself up and I get myself in the mood to come inside. And it's like, I'm on dad duty now. Like I'm coming in ready to play. Like I know like these kids haven't seen me all day, and I could come in and just be annoyed that they're in my face and, oh, I need 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. I need this or that. Or I could just take the 5 minutes in the car, get myself into the right headspace, and come in ready to be there for the family. Yeah. Yeah, I think our lives as humans now, with the way that the world is structured and everything that we've been through to get to the point we are, I feel as if there's never a separation. We work out of the same houses that we live in. We eat out of the same houses we work in. We host at the same houses we eat and work out of. Like we do all of these things out of the same environment, and it doesn't give us enough time to be able to like separate our lives. And I'm not saying separate it where you got to like completely put blinders on and not pay attention to it, but like there's segmented periods, and it's like, all right, cool. Now I'm home. I can relax, cook dinner, have fun, have good conversations. Now the conversations are about work. The stress bleeds into it. The conversations bleed into it. And then next thing you know, you're talking about that for a half hour. And then you go and you got to do your evening activities, whatever that is. Go out for a walk, do the dishes, do laundry. And everything's just bleeding in together. And we don't take enough time to like step back, like you were just saying Tyler does, of like, take a deep breath. All right, cool. Now we're going to this next room of life. And that's being a dad, being a father, like curating that. But this is exactly why I always prioritize like waking up, getting my routine done before work, and then getting dressed for work. Like people don't even get dressed for work anymore. They just roll out of bed, brush their teeth at a minimum, and then wear the same clothes. And then they're just finally starting their day when they're like, oh, I'm going to change at lunchtime into normal clothes. Like, dude, I'll put on normal fucking clothes for work, and then after work's over, I'll change. Just like I would if I was going to work and then coming home from it. I don't realize that I do these things because I consider them just like habits and things that I do in my lifestyle. But now looking at it from a deeper perspective, it really like illustrates being cautious or maybe being
cognizant of separating life a little bit in those different buckets so that way you can enjoy it more.
I also have been looking at it from a different lens of like not bitching to your significant other, which is going to be more on like a male perspective, I'm going to say, and may even be portrayed as toxic masculinity if that's the way that the fucking world wants to label it these days.
Okay.
But I feel like I don't like to bitch to Mandy about things going on in my life. I feel like as a man, that's something that I need to handle, and that I do think like that it obviously needs to get out. Like you have to let it out, but I don't think that's the place to do it. I think like if I was to come, and I also think that that's why fucking back in the day, everybody go straight from work to the bar with the people they worked with, and they would just bitch and moan about work. It's like, all right, let's get this out. Probably not the best way to do it, and probably didn't work very well. But I do understand like the sentiment of like, let me take it here and get it out. I think that when we're constantly bitching about things going on in our life, it just like it feels weak. Like it feels like we can't control the things in our life, and like, how are they gonna feel safe and secure if we're just unloading all of our problems on them all the time? And it's especially like about work shit, like it's minuscule shit that really like there's no solution for. The negative shit at work, like there is no fix for it because it's outside of myself. The only thing I can really do is try to remove myself from the situation or like try to look at it from a different perspective. But like coming home and bitching about it isn't doing anything.
Yeah.
It's just adding that stress to home life now. For what reason? I feel like we as men need to lead a home. And I don't think you can do that when you're constantly bitching and complaining.
Yeah. Yeah. We, some would say we're getting soft as a society or as men.
Yeah.
But like, I try to not show my stress. I try to not show my frustration. I try to not, and am I perfect? No. But like, dude, my dad didn't fucking come home and just bitch all day because they didn't have as many people come through to generate revenue that day, like for the business, or because somebody didn't show up for work. Guess what? If somebody didn't show up, my dad went out and he fucking did it. If the money didn't come in, he figured out a way of how can we do it? How can we keep it open? How can this? How can that? And it's just, it's a part of life because at the end of the day, like, what is it going to do? I was talking the other day when I was having this conversation about, wow, like the world really needs that time between work and home to like just debrief themselves. I was talking about like, why do we as humans put so much fucking pressure on these jobs that we have? Now I get it. It's going to give us our lifestyle. It's going to allow us to do these things. But at the end of the day, like if you're working your ass off and you have so many things on your plate and this and this and this, and you have those conversations with your leadership, like, look, there is too much on my fucking plate. I can't handle this. I need to be able to work around, or how can we like figure this situation out? Because now I'm spending 3 extra hours a day after hours getting work done and catching up and this and that. Well, guess what? Now that's taken away from a relationship. Now that's taken away from a friendship. Now that's taken away from goals or whoever, like whatever other buckets your life is aligning to. Like I see people who have passed away and their jobs have just like fucking been filled. Nothing's even happened.
In like a week.
Yeah. I've had people that have worked for a company for 50 years retire and they barely even get an email sent out. Like the companies do not give a fuck about us at the end of the day.
Nah.
And they can say, oh, we're here for you this. We'll give you these perks and benefits, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, like, you should never allow work to get to you so bad that it's literally emotionally pulling you apart. We all have a roadmap that we want to follow. We all want to climb these chains. We all want to make these impacts and do these things. But like at the end of the day, letting yourself get so riled up by the group talking about things or the work not aligning with the direction that you want to go or achieving or accomplishing the goals that you need to in order to check boxes off, like do what you fucking can and figure a way to not let it fucking bleed over into these other aspects of your life.
I think the problem with the whole work thing is that so many people, it's their identity. Like what they do for a living is their identity. We talked about this before where when people are like, hey man, what do you do? Like the first thing when you meet somebody, what do you do?
Yeah.
Why is that the first thing we want to know is what do you do for a living?
So we can judge them and think if they do or don't have it.
Yeah, but like that's not what makes up a person. Like what I do has literally, outside of those fucking 40 hours a week, nothing to do with who I feel like I am as a human being.
But ain't it crazy that those 40 hours a week that we, you and I, that other people spend in those jobs, they're completely different fucking people than they are outside of them?
Yeah.
Completely different fucking people. You ever go to like a work party and see how people fucking act? Now imagine how they act like with their like close group of friends or people. Like, it's sad that we have to fucking put a mask on day in and day out. I'm blessed. I don't have to put a mask on.
Yeah, I really don't either.
But a lot of people go in and they put a mask on for 8 hours a day, pretending who they are. So that way they can appease this group or this job or this thing because they're scared to show their true colors or like their own personalities because it's corporate. You gotta be careful. It's like a fucking prison, bro. People can't be themselves.
Which is kind of another reason that I feel like because like I say I don't like to bring work home, but when DTI inevitably is huge, work is gonna be home. Like, it's all gonna be intertwined. It's not like we're just gonna shut off when we come home. And even DTI stuff now, like, that's stuff that gets talked about in our relationships. That's stuff that people in our life know. But I would never fucking come home and, well, okay, maybe come home and like talk about a big deal. But like, I'm never gonna talk to my parents about, oh yeah, just closed a big deal. That's not gonna happen. Mm-hmm. But if we do something massive with this, immediately it's gonna get talked about.
I don't look at them the same.
But eventually it's gonna be. Eventually that is gonna be our work. That's gonna be our full-time everything.
Yeah. And I'll be happy as fuck to talk about it.
Yeah, no shit.
Whether I'm fucking
but I think that's like
or bitching.
It's like an ownership of it though. I think that's why, is because like this is something that you've built.
Yeah.
Like, you built this, you created this. This isn't like you got hired and helped build something for somebody else.
Yeah.
But I also think that just comes down to like a mission. Like, if you were like really 100%, and I'm not gonna speak for you, if I was really 100% like invested in what my job did, I'd probably talk about it more too. And I'm not gonna say I don't support the product because I think it's a helpful product, but I just don't have a passion behind it. Like, it's not something that like, if I lost my job, I'm gonna be fucking devastated because I get so much fulfillment from this position. Like, it's just not realistic.
Yeah. I don't know. The corporate world is weird, man. It's weird. It's just another layer of these boot camps that we go throughout life. We're just groomed and trained our entire lives to like follow this fucking system that goes round and round.
School. Then I literally was in boot camp.
Yeah. Like, I saw a post the other day and it was like prison. And then it was like school, and it was like the tray of food that they get in prison, the tray of food you get in school. And then it was like office, prison, and it was like cubicles, and then like the jail cells. And then it was like cafeteria, and it was like prison, school. And like, there were so many correlations, and it's like, no wonder why people get trapped in the system or get trapped in believing that they should X, Y, and Z. Like, alluding to the fact that nobody goes out and tries to build anything, because it's like, no, you got to go to school.
Yeah.
You got to go to work. You got to get a 9 to 5. You got to do this. And everybody's telling us what we have to do. And a lot of people, I'm going to say until recently, and it's probably just because I'm becoming more aware of it, but I would say a lot of people are scared to step out of that because with the old school mentality, there's some people that have parents that don't support, go out and build something, create something. I believe in you. It's like, no, you got to go be a doctor. You got to be a dentist. You got to be a lawyer. Like, you got to follow the family tree, whatever that is, because that's how you become success. But I don't know, the more and more that I'm doing stuff and the more that I look at, like, what do I want to build this life and this brand and this thing that I'm doing? It's like, I just want to have something big enough where I can live life and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm doing on my own. And if I can continue to build and grow that and sustain it through life, cool. Because there's just something about doing it for yourself. I mean, I told you, and I'd be happy to tell my boss or my CEO of my company, like, it's great to go out and do the stuff I do. I tell you all the time, I love my job. Like, it's fun. I'm with blue-collared people. We're out there bullshitting. I'm telling them about my product. If they like it, they like it. If not, okay, that's fine. It's not for everybody. But, like, it's just so relaxed. I don't have to put a suit and tie on. I get to wear boots and a hat and put on a safety vest and go out there and see, like, literally the forefront of what makes this earth move and what they're literally moving the earth. And I get to go out there and be a part of it and have these conversations, and it's fucking awesome. But then I take a step back and I'm like, I'm going to be selling this amount, millions of dollars this year for this company. I'm away over half of the month every single time. That's taking me away from Lowe and Decker and this life that I'm building, my friends, my family. It's great because the road's not bad. I've figured it out. But like, dude, you add up all that fucking time, and it's like, you're telling me that I couldn't find something myself, spend that much time, and be able to make the money I'm making? To me, like, that, it's asinine that I've allowed this to happen for so long. I look back, and we've talked about this, I looked back in my sales career, I'm like, I've made over how many millions of dollars for other companies?
And how much of it did you actually see?
Yeah, I've closed how many deals? And I'm blessed for it because it's gotten me to this point in my life. But I'm like, if I can do this for something else that I somewhat believe in, okay, maybe I believe in it, but I'm not like super passionate about it. You're telling me that I can't find something or do something for myself to be able to live this life that I want, or live maybe a little bit better life? And by better life, I mean a little bit more financial freedom, so that way I can do this and do that and see the world like I want to. There's no way in hell. And guess what? When we do that and we do find that thing and we're bitching about stuff, it's not going to be the same bitching that we have to with the situations that we're in now. Because now it's structured bitching towards stuff that we want to. And it's like, well, the reason we're going to complain about something is because we want more. Like, we want to be able to impact more. Once we start seeing that growth and that trajectory, it's like, okay, we can do this, but on a grander scale. Now we can impact people over here, and we can go and do this and help here. And now we can be over there. Dude, it's the more and more that we're focusing on these things, and the more and more that we're having these conversations, it brings a light to me where I'm like, that it's not as hard as we're making it be.
Yeah.
I've said for years that I think it's extremely easy to become, I'll say, successful in this world. We just all overthink it. I used to say it's super easy to become rich in this world. We all overthink it. But to me, success is more important than becoming rich.
Success is also very objective.
Yeah. And so, like, I look at it from that, because I think of success, and it's going to be me off on, well, us, me off on my own, doing what we want and we're passionate about. And so I look at this conversation that we're having just like I look at college. It was one of those things where it was like trials and tribulations. You do it, you learn a lot of lessons, and it does teach you a lot of things. But it's just building us to the people, because we're trying to find the deeper meaning, or we're having like deeper conversations than just like, oh, we bitch at work. It brings light to like different areas where it's like, okay.
Even this, though, isn't where I thought that this conversation was going to go. I was obviously like talking about it.
Interrupting the pod for sponsor time. First Form, you guys hear Dylan and I talk about it all the time. They have you covered from A to Z, no matter what supplements you need. Whether it's proteins or fueling for an endurance race, First Form has you covered. Their mission is to help one person a day. We love that here at DTI, because our mission is to help people live a healthier, happier lifestyle. And we believe that using First Form supplements can enhance what your goals are. So whether it's a supplement that First Form has, or you want to rock their merch, visit the link in our bio, www.firstform.com/DTI to get yours today. Back to the pod.
And I had like other points to move to, but now like even hearing you go down this path, I don't know what word I was about to say there, but this path, it's like our words have power that way though too. Like, we have the complete control of speaking shit into existence. And that feels weird and like, oh, woo-woo spiritual shit. But like, genuinely, that shit works, bro.
Yeah.
The more you say things and put them in the universe, and I mean like go for outlandish things. Don't just say, oh, I want to get a good job. Like, no, like be fucking specific about what you want and what you want to do with that once you get it. And once you have it, don't fucking stop. Level it up again and keep pushing it, because that's when shit's really going to take off, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can look at it the same way. If we let ourselves get pigeonholed in thinking or acting or being a certain way because of the status quo, because of what most people are doing, then that's what it's going to be. But if you can just give yourself a little bit, start checking those boxes daily, get that compound interest, you start seeing traction, you start seeing results, you start seeing all these things, then it's like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. And then you start telling people stuff and they're like, dude, you're fucking crazy. There's no way this is going to work. There's no way that. And it's like, I'm only crazy because you've never done it. Just like I looked at you one day when you were like, let's run a half marathon. I'm like, you're fucking crazy. But guess what? I leaned into it a little bit, leaned in a little bit more. And now I'm like, dude, there's so much. You can take a deep fucking meaning out of life doing endurance. And now I'm in this space and I see it. And so now I'm trying to motivate people. And so it's the same thing with business, is that when you look at it from the lens of like, I will achieve X, and you go after it and you start seeing a little bit of traction, it's like, okay, this is possible. And then that starts opening more doors to thoughts and imaginations that you once never could have dreamed of. But it's that compound interest of keep giving effort, keep giving it attention, keep believing. Because if you truly believe about something and you truly think it's going to happen, it will fucking happen. But if there's any doubt in either of our minds that anything in our life can happen, then it's not going to. Because if we don't believe in it, why should anybody else?
The key that you said there, which I don't even realize if you know that you realize it yet, but like it's a twofold thing. You can say it, but you have to work for it too. You could have said you could run a half marathon and thought it was crazy, but if you never actually went out and did runs leading up to it, the odds of you finishing that are slim to none.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say all the things you want, but if you don't actually do it, it's never going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
You're not going to reach the goal just by hoping for it and putting it out in the universe. You also have to go work your ass off towards that thing. And I think that's where people get so fucked up with their words becoming their thoughts is like, you can go to the gym, you can eat healthier, you can do all these habits that we preach, but if every single day you're in your head telling yourself you're a piece of shit, you're still going to feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You've got to do both. You've got to do the action and you've got to say that shit over and over and over again.
Yeah. It's just like with social media and content creation, man. There's so many people out there that aren't being true and authentic to them. And then they're wondering like, why can't I get to the next level? Why can't I this? Why can't I that? It's like people can sense if things are authentic or if you're fucking scripting them or if you're playing a like role. That's why you have to start. And starting for us was like, oh, we're going to make gym content. Even though we fucking hated it, it was like, oh, God. But guess what? It let the guard down. It let us not care what people think. It led us to all these different things. But when all of that stuff, like if you turn the street corner, whatever it is, and you finally see like, wait, this is what I want to do, or this is the impact I want to have. And then you just start being yourself on social media, on meetings, in person. It becomes a lot more natural. So things just happen organically and you don't have to think about it. So like, for instance, me, when somebody was like, you need to just show your life. You do all of the things. Like, why aren't you just showing that? People will resonate, this and that. Then I start showing my life and it's like, oh, wow, there's traction. There's this, there's conversation. One thing's leading to another. I was in the gym yesterday, bro. In the gym yesterday. Just got done with my 1.5 hour run, and then I got done with my swim. And I'm sitting in the sauna, and there's a kid sitting next to me. And I can say kid because he was 17 years old, and that's a kid. And there's a kid sitting next to me, and he just looked over at me, and he's like, how did he say it? He goes, how do you get in better cardio shape or something like that? And I was like, what? He's like, how do you get in better shape? And I was like, in what way? And like, I'm not going to lie, like, I feel like I look really good right now with my like shirt off, and my shirt was off. I was in the sauna. And so I do feel like I look fit. Like I am happy for the first time in like a year with like, oh wow, I look fucking good. You can see the results. And he goes, how do you get in better shape? You look like you're in good shape. Like, how do I get better at cardio? And I was like, this is fucking weird that somebody's asking me about cardio. So then we started talking, and then guess what, bro? He starts fucking crying. And I was like, what's going on? He's like, bro, I'm so fucking depressed right now. He's like, I have these thoughts and I'm this and that and blah, blah, blah. And we start talking. Next thing you know, him and his girl broke up that he dated for a long time. And he said that he's gotten fat and he wants to get back to it. And he has like days where he feels numb. He has days where his mind races, like all this stuff. And we're having the like most genuine conversation. And then he's like, I got to step out. I feel like I'm going to pass out. So he steps out, gets fresh air. He comes back in. He's asking more questions. But like, to me, that's just another sign, and why I'm bringing this up is because I'm doing things that are authentic to me. I'm doing things that actually mean something. And even though I could be posting videos or doing stuff on DTI, this guy didn't know this, but like that got brought to me for some reason. And to me, that's just another sign is like, keep doing what you're doing, because I'm having great conversations on a weekly basis now with people. And this was just another sign that it's like, when you're authentic to you, when you're preaching yourself or doing the things that you want for yourself, this stuff is going to start coming. And if you don't pick up on those signs, then you're never going to catch what that next thing is. And you're never going to be able to reel it in to be able to keep moving forward and keep branching off.
As much as that felt like that was brought to you for a reason, I think you were brought to him for a reason. Mm-hmm. So I obviously wasn't there for the conversation. I don't know how deep you got, but I do hope that you touched on some of your story. Mm-hmm. Because for somebody who doesn't know you, was vulnerable enough to break down in the sauna, I feel like you could have really helped that kid out of a tough situation.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a great conversation at the end of it. It was really cool. Did a little fist pump, said some like final words to each other. But again, like, we got to look for the signs in life, because the signs aren't always fucking likes on social media. The signs aren't always how many views that we get on our YouTube videos. The signs aren't how many clients we have signed up. Signs are that as well. Because guess what? I hope, like you said, that was that one person I was supposed to impact that day. I hope that I impacted him. To wake up today and be like, oh shit, that kid said this. All right, I'm going to go do that. Oh, he said to focus on this. I'm going to go do that.
And he could take some shit that you told him and tell it to somebody else. And he doesn't even know who you are, dude. But he's going to make this guy from the sauna. And that's it. And like, that's all that he needs those. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. It just matters the interaction that you guys had. Yeah.
So it's just another thing that kind of came into this conversation that I'm happy it did, because...
Me too. I definitely did not know that.
Yeah, it's... We gotta open our eyes a little bit more. There's a lot more good that goes on in our day-to-day lives that people, myself included, don't always see, because we get clouded from those conversations at work, the toxic ones, the ones where we're like, fuck, I can't wait to get out of here, and you just want to pull your hair out, or the ones that make you want to go home and just fucking vent and bitch. But at the end of the day, like, we both know, and I hope people know, that gets us nowhere in life. It doesn't get us any further. And quite honestly, it could then lead to a argument between you and Mandy, or it could lead one between me and Lo, or me and my family, because we're just so fed up with it. And so just taking time to just like step back for a second and being like, is this really going to affect me in 24 hours? Probably not. So why am I going to let it affect me for 24 more minutes? And then when you start doing that, it opens the fucking perspective of like, hey, look at this. Or even it's like, oh man, the sun's out today and it's been fucking gloomy for days. Like, just pulling those little things out of life, it makes you start appreciating stuff. And then you can actually see the good that's going around, that's in traction. But if we let emotions dictate our life, then we'll never be able to see that. And we'll just keep spinning in this circle that we're meant to.
Definitely a different conversation than I was expecting with this topic. Glad that it went here, though. I don't know if you would have even told me about this kid any other way. So I'm definitely glad. That's actually super dope. Like, you have to have that conversation. That I haven't been going to my regular gym in a while, and now I feel like I need to start going back so I can be around other people.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to touch on that topic? I know there's a lot of notes in that little pad.
No, I mean, I got to most of them, but I feel like the other ones will get weaved into future conversations. Yeah. They're kind of touch on a lot of different things, but I enjoyed where this one went.
Cool. So there's one thing I guess I have that maybe it'll wrap this up. But you brought this topic up for a reason, because it's been something that's been going on in your life, and something that was worthwhile talking to, because there's plenty of people that fucking go through it. I could count 10 people right now that I know are going through similar situations in like work-life balance type things. But like, what's the lesson that you're taking out of this? Or like, why was this of importance to you to like kind of leave them off with on like what you're learning through it all?
I'll be honest. The main reason for this wasn't necessarily about me. It's about other people in life.
Okay.
And it's not even necessarily about work-life balance. It's kind of like the last little bit that I said, where you can go through all of these things. You can make changes that are propelling you into growth. So you can start working out. You can start eating better. You can limit negative habits. But until you actually stop the negative self-talk, that part's never going to go away, because the things that you think ultimately define who you are as a person and your identity. And you're never going to be able to shed that identity if you keep reinforcing it in your mind. And so that was really the main point that I wanted to get across. So we really didn't get to, just because we didn't go that way. So actually, thanks for bringing it back there, I guess. Because I feel like so many people identify with this past version of themselves, or like this down and depressed. Like, when you hit that low point, it's hard to get out of it, because this is who I am now. And so if you keep just saying the same negative things and repeating the cycle in your head, it doesn't matter what you're doing to try to better yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's still going to just keep pulling you back. You're just spinning your wheels. And so I think like it's important that, yes, you take the actions, but you've also got to say, like, that's not me anymore. I'm not that person. There are good things ahead for me, and you've got to make them fucking happen.
Yeah. That's why I fucking hate therapy, dude, because it gives people the chance to just double and triple and quadruple and whatever down on complaining about the same things without actually putting action in to be able to like get past it. Or it, to me, therapy is just like identifying with this problem you have, and then that's it. And you are this problem now, and you have to be this problem. But like, I believe what you're saying and what I'm getting away from it is you don't have to be that.
Correct.
You can talk about it, you can work on it, and then you are XYZ after that. You aren't this anymore. You aren't that anymore. You have so much ahead of you that you can focus on. Because I say all the time, like, you never want to go back down to your worst day. Like, I never want to go back to my fucking darkest day that I ever had. So my goal is to always make sure that I'm not going to get there. And what can I do to continuously improve on that? And so, yeah, I agree with that. And I'm glad that you brought that up as a point, because
I do think that therapy has some benefits. I've never personally done it, so like I hate to speak as a complete like black and white. It's not good because I don't know.
Yeah, no, I
do think that there's some out there who they do help you overcome that type of stuff, but that can't be all you do either.
Yeah,
because that's just talking about it. That's where I think like the two things need to come together.
Yep.
Yes, you might need to talk to somebody, but you also need to talk better to yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah,
but then you also need to do the work.
Yeah. And that's the main point. So I like therapy if you're going to do the work, putting action in to create a plan to be able to like move forward, create whatever. But yes, majority of the time, I feel like I hear people go to therapy and then they don't do anything after that session. So that's what I hate about it. But I do think it's a great thing as long as you have an action plan laid out. So, yeah, cool conversation, man. I appreciate it. Wasn't sure in the beginning how or where that was going to go, but hopefully you guys took away something, as always. Even if it's one little thing, go out there, live your dream life, have the desire to inspire. Kiss your mama. Come back next week. It's on.
Peace.